High transportation costs hinder delivery of relief supplies. Morobe Governor Kelly Naru joins Christian Democratic Party. PNG's Trilateral partnership to eradicate malaria.
This is National EMTV News with Morobe Tulo.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us for Thursday's news. Transport costs remain the biggest obstacle in the delivery of relief supplies to rural parts of Morobe Province. To date, 6 tons of rice stored at the Morobe Provincial Disaster Centre have not been transported to Kabum as expected. Transport funds have been depleted and the centre is asking the districts for help, but with little results.
6 tons of rice for the Deamos LLG in Kabum are still being kept at the Provincial Disaster Centre. The centre's director, Charlie Masange, told MTV 2 weeks ago they had spent half of the 1 million kina in provincial government funding for transport costs alone, and that most of the districts had not provided funding for transportation.
Cost blown at Chata mi more expensive, more low on a Kaka mi blog, Latrano, Salim Gonzalo place. So Emba work if sample like a couple of trips with Samba cost and a cost and by income contact more.
Transport costs alone have eaten up much of the disaster relief funding that provincial governments have allocated. The average cost of supplies to feed just 10,000 people for 120 days is 2.1 million kina. And that's just for the basics of rice and tin fish, excluding the transport. Helicopter charges from out of Ley to rural districts like Kabum cost up to 12,000 kina per trip for every ton. Third-level airline companies charge on average 4,000 kina per trip, but they would need a return load from the location to cover their costs. On Tuesday, after the Morobe budget session, we found the member for Kabum, Bob Dadai. He told MTV some relief had already been delivered to Deamos LLG.
My DDA, District Development Authority, has allocated 1.5 million because money was received towards the end of the year. We met at the end of the year. By then it was already late, accounts were closing.
But he said he was not aware of the 6 tons of rice allocated for that particular LLG sitting at the Provincial Disaster Centre.
If that is intended for Kabum, I'll be happy to help them, and I'm happy to transfer them, pay for the freight to give it to our people, so I'll find out about that. Thank you.
The lack of communication between key stakeholders is one of the biggest obstacles standing in the way of getting relief supplies to people in rural areas. The politicians, the district administrations, even the provincial disaster centres aren't talking to each other as much as they should. As in the case of Kabum, those who are supposed to receive the relief supplies don't even know that relief supplies are being kept in provincial disaster centres. Scott Waide, National EMTV News, Ley.
Ley Secondary School is taking its money problems into 2016. Last year, the school closed due to cash flow shortfalls. The school still has to pay outstanding bills owed to contractors and service providers incurred in 2015. School principal Christopher Raymond says they expect around 908,000 kina, but they will only receive around 700,000 kina from the national government. All secondary schools in Ley, including Ley Secondary, will be charging project fees this year. Striking workers from the Ramu nickel mine resumed work today following an intervention by the Department of Industrial Relations. An industrial compulsory conference has been deferred in order for officers to visit the Basamok refinery and the Kurumbukari mine sites to encourage national workers to return to work. Rachel Shise with the details.
The Ramu nickel mine national workers resumed work today following assurance from the Department of Industrial Relations representatives and the mine's management that the workers' 11 points petition will be considered. The conference that's supposed to see an agreement passed by all parties today if the 11 points on the workers' petition was agreed or disagreed on was moved to the 1st of next month. Nonetheless, the national workers, through their union president Justin Mendes, said they will stop work again if their petition is not addressed by the next set date.
I still maintain that we have followed all the due processes and laws to stop work and address this issue. And if the union has seen or has broken any laws, then that will depend on the outcome of the legal interpretation.
Now, the cause of this strike is said to have followed the death of a national worker on a night shift at the mine site on the 29th of December last year.
The safety compliance at workplace and I think also the security compliance at workplace was overlooked. Now, this is a serious case and very serious, and when I mean it's very serious, it's very serious. And we could easily get the government authorities to shut down the mine. And in fact, the workers have never asked the company or demanded the company to shut down the mine as well.
The union said the 11 points on the petition to the mine's management were basically the workers' concerns.
We only have one rule book. We don't have one rule book for the Chinese and one rule book for the Papua New Guineans. And I would like to make it very clear to the government of the day that if any foreign investor is allowed to come and do business in our country, by all means they have to comply with all the rules of our country and respect our citizens.
Time all money look at him law, all you know, start to control him. How by people all Papua New Guinea all plus man, all people are resource owners, by people benefit or someone.
It's not something where people like similar personal benefit blow people. It's for the good of the mine, also the workers na all man look place who certainly contributing more resources blow going sell Islam mining now.
Mibla di mining company lo rasimo das la all inexperienced line. Naximal more than 10 to 20 years experience line lo working apply more good plus skills na all can run him slab production so slab production him can go reach him 100% so that time royalty or equity time company making profit now him can pay more dividend come back lo stakeholders na programs.
Rachel Shise, National EMTV News, Madang.
The Morobe District Court this afternoon adjourned a police brutality case to February the 16th after the police prosecutor failed to dress appropriately. The case was in relation to allegations of physical assault against a police officer that occurred on December the 22nd in Port Moresby last year. For the plaintiff, Tom Kapo, a 40-year-old community leader, the adjournment was frustrating.
This is the second time the case has been adjourned, and plaintiff Kapo described it as disappointing. On January 15 this year, the Morobe District Court heard that Kapo was slapped on his right ear and hit with an iron rod on his left leg after he tried to prevent a group of policemen attached to the National Capital District Footbeat Patrol Unit from beating up a youth at the Gordon's Market last December.
That same officer come at the back, no backside blow me, and give him mighty punch and broke him eardrum blow me.
It was heard that Kapo was taken to the Gordon's police station and charged for 3 counts of threatening, perverting the course of justice, and obstruction of police duties. However, the district court dropped the threatening charge.
Na mission of court, law 15, or document put him last trial law 28, which is today.
Medical reports obtained from the Port Moresby General Hospital on 7th January this year revealed that Kapo had sustained severe pains and bleeding from his right ear and had developed painful swelling on his left leg. It was stated that Kapo suffered from a traumatic right eardrum perforation and soft tissue injury to his left leg.
Leg, ear blow me, and then policeman rouse him mascaras from me, me fall him, or rouse him mascaras from me, all hold him mascaras, lumbla. Now I'm short.
It is understood the accused police officer has failed to appear in court since the mention, and the case was deferred from 15th January to today, but deferred again to February 16th. Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
A policeman was hospitalized with a severe injury to his eye after clashing with soldiers of Lombrum Naval Base in Manus last Saturday. The commotion was instigated 2 weeks prior between Manus police and soldiers at Lombrum, where a soldier was severely wounded with a bush knife. According to Manus Provincial Police Commander, Senior Inspector David Yapu, he confirmed the incident, stating it was a retaliatory attack. The injured officer was responding to a report of an unlawful use of a motor vehicle owned by the soldiers. They also attempted to run him over with the vehicle. Mr. Yapu says senior officers at Lombrum Naval Base have agreed to hand in the men to the Manus Police for investigation. Police prosecutors are failing to follow court processes which have resulted in cases being struck out or deferred. More than 5 proceedings were struck out or adjourned by Senior Magistrate Cosmas Bidar at the Waigani Committal Court today. Most of these cases include armed robbery, sexual penetration and grievous bodily harm.
This morning, a couple, Parapen Warun and Joy Parapen, appeared for mention on one count of harboring a convicted prisoner who is their son. Magistrate Bidar struck out the case and ordered the refund of the bail money. Since the two defendants were charged on October 28 last year, they have not been served any court files. Also, the court has not received any instructions from police on the matter. Magistrate Bidar also struck out a case on willful damage and ordered for the defendant's bail refund. Police did not serve him any file. Meanwhile, 3 people, a female from Abau in Central Province and 2 males from East New Britain Province, appeared for mention for allegedly committing grievous bodily harm for no good reason to a man. The 3 failed to appear at the Committal Court at the given dates because they were wrongly informed by the arresting officer to appear at the Boroko courthouse. They were arrested yesterday and bailed 500 kina each. Magistrate Bidar also revoked the warrant of arrest and ordered the police to refund their bail money on the ground that they were wrongly informed. Pasinata Yama, National EMTV News.
PNG Correctional Service Commissioner Michael Waipo says the Correctional Service has listed jail reviews as a top priority for this year. A proposal that will contain the work plan for the Correctional Service will be recompiled and resubmitted to the National Executive Council after it was rejected in 2015. This comes following concerns raised by numerous jail commandos all over the country who want an overhaul maintenance done to the crumbling prison infrastructure and staff housing.
The rundown state of prison facilities and prison staff houses has been a widely discussed agenda in recent years in almost every jails across the country. In this interview, questions on crumbling staff houses and the poor state of jail facilities were put to the CS Commissioner Michael Waipo last week. He says there are plans in place to address these age-old problems within the Correctional Service.
We're pulled together and we'll be implementing our activities against the annual activity implementation plan for the Correctional Service for 2016, which means now that everybody else from the division right down to the base have to individually, they must have an activity plan for what they set out to do this year. So that will enable us now to utilize existing resources or maximize existing resources to support our cause.
The PNG Correctional Service is a department in need. These pictures show the rundown houses of prison officers and the state of the Caravat prison in East New Britain Province. The jail is already overcrowded and the staff houses continue to fall apart. It reflects the severity of the problem that continues to plague the correctional service in the country over the last 40 years.
What we have at the moment, so like for anything to come in, it will require funding and sound preparation for any development can take place. Given our situation, it will be a bit tight to secure any funding, but we're having to make do with whatever we are able to access.
Since 2015, the PNG Correctional Service has been endorsed by the government to participate in the Public-Private Partnership Program, which has so far assisted in the operations of the prison services all over the country. The Commissioner says the department is looking at reviewing the condition of jails and what that needs to be done to improve them, but to see tangible developments might take a little longer than expected. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Kokopo.
Still to come in the news, Morobe Governor joins Christian Democratic Party. Also, the PNG Business Council's Back to Business Breakfast. Those stories and more when we return. Welcome back to the news. Morobe Governor Kelly Naru was officially sworn in today as head of the Christian Democratic Party. Governor Naru signed the instruments in Port Moresby today. Eric Haurupma with this report.
Morobe Governor Kelly Naru was sworn in as the party leader of Christian Democratic Party, witnessed by party executives and Integrity of Political Parties Registrar Dr. Alphonse Gelu. This comes after his full consultation with the people of Morobe Province.
Na mi amamas lo toksawe towards the end of last year mi Olympic boom na ongara line committee blomi lo Morobe Province where Olympic come up in this bla work lo mi come inside mi put him this bla offer golongol. We play scaling inside Lombrum Blomi plan ogara only one bell na only talk of some. I think Asika you can move inside long this party.
He said he had agreed with some of the party's policies, especially giving 1/10 of its tithes to the people and partnering churches in delivering services into the rural areas. He said it was in the best interest of the people of Morobe Province because it focused on sevenfold leadership as captured under the party's policies. It also emphasized on equal distribution of wealth and good governance to benefit the people in the rural areas. The party was formed in 2004 and currently it will be the only member serving in the parliament.
As thinking where Mipla online lo Morobe, Mipla looking good plan long this party, and we sleep on the work Mipla working lo Morobe. Proman good. Also, so only talk kosem. You can go inside na join him party na Mipla give him talk right long you. Also, so underneath long this talk right long all me consulting party can na me talk okay. People belong me now only talk kosem. You can move long this current status belong you also independent member of parliament. Na you can go inside long joining this political party.
Registrar of Integrity of Political Parties and Candidates Alphonse Gelu said this small party is also part of the department's initiative to review political parties.
For us at the registry for this year in 2016, the motto that we are working with is on promoting political parties. And that is promoting political parties in preparation for the 2017 national elections.
Governor Naru was also presented a Bible by members of the party during this ceremony. Naru will now serve as the head of Christian Democratic Party and lead the party into the 2017 national elections.
He is still looking for the leadership that will deliver. We are into our 40 years now as a country, moving and crossing over. Unfortunately, leaders have come and gone. We have come with all different kinds of political parties, political party policies, agendas. But the people of this country are still searching and they are looking at means and ways of how their basic needs can be satisfied.
Eric Arupman, National EMTV News.
The Pacific MMI building located in downtown Port Moresby has been given the all clear by NCDC health inspectors. Earlier this month, the health inspectors issued an indefinite closure notice after the building's air conditioning system broke down, creating a non-conducive working environment. The problem has since been rectified.
The Mineral Resources Development Company Limited issued a statement today saying the Pacific MMI building was cleared by NCDC health inspectors. The building is one of a few commercial properties held by Pacific Property Trust and under the care of MRDC. Since taking over Pacific Property Trust in 2014, MRDC undertook building audits which uncovered significant deterioration attributed to a lack of maintenance by the previous trustee. Last year, MRDC then put in place an overall upgrade and modernization plan for its properties, the Pacific MMI building and the Pacific Place. However, the notice of closure on the Pacific MMI building was issued by NCDC early this month after the air conditioning system of the building broke down, posing health concerns for tenants and the public. MRDC immediately met with the NCDC health inspectors and updated them on the course of action already undertaken by the company to rectify the problem. The air conditioning system has now been fully restored and the building has been given the all clear. MRDC said it is committed to restoring and rehabilitating the Pacific MMI and Pacific Place buildings to a more modernized working environment. Deli Waigeno, National EMTV News.
The Provincial Training Centre project in Lae's Bumbu Police Barracks is still incomplete since work began in 2013. The project includes the construction of new accommodation barracks for both male and female officers, outdoor training areas and classrooms. It was supposed to be completed in just 24 months.
The project is funded by the RPNGC under the modernization program. It cost 3.5 million kina. In 2013, there were 8 separate projects of the modernization program that were introduced. The Provincial Police Training Centre in Lae was one of the 8 projects. The plan was to develop the Lae Provincial Police Training Centre as an extension of the training offered by the Bomana Police College. It was supposed to be completed in 2014.
What is the cause? What is the reason for the contractors to leave the place here, leave the construction and not being completed?
There were 4 different contractors engaged in this project, but they all left in the middle of 2015. The yards are now overgrown with weeds. Termites have eaten away the frames, and the drainage systems has no proper outlet, causing water blockage.
The right is the abolition block. That was also in the scope of work, which they have not done that, and so as the classroom and the office.
Regional Training Officer Paul Bai says it is not clear why the contractors have left an incomplete job. The centre is mainly to train both the new graduates and officers in the Northern Command. Paul is making a call to the responsible authorities to come up with a plan to sort out the matter and have the project completed. This training center would be the extension of the training offered by the Bomana Police College. Currently, the only training is at Bomana. There are a number of provincial training centers throughout the country, but all of them have infrastructure and capital works issues that require immediate attention. This provincial center will become the regional training center for provinces in the Northern Command. Mata Luis, National EMTV News, Lae.
The awarding of the contract for the construction of the new National Courthouse complex will be made by the government. The Attorney General's office released a statement saying the 490 million kina contract will commence following an NEC meeting. Eric Harupma reports.
In a letter received by EMTV today from the Attorney General's office, Anopala stated that the decision for the awarding of the contract will be made by the National Executive Council. Chief Justice says Salomo Inje was also informed of that, which he responded in acknowledgement. On Tuesday, the opposition leader Don Poli has questioned the legality of this process, alleging a contract was awarded to a preferred contractor called LNA Construction at a project cost of 490 million kina.
I have evidence to prove that he has even spoken to the office of the Chief Justice to forcing the Chief Justice to write a letter recommending a local company to be awarded the project of 430 million kina, the courthouse complex.
He alleged that the Attorney General has pivoted the procurement process in awarding the contract to a preferred contractor without recommendations from the Central Supply and Tenders Board. The Attorney General responded that LNA contractor was confirmed bidder after satisfying all the requirements by the Central Supply and Tenders Board to carry out this project. However, the NEC has the final approval on the awarding of the contract. Eric Arupman, National EMTV News.
The Business Council of Papua New Guinea hosted its 2016 President's Back to Business Breakfast with Prime Minister Peter O'Neill and President David Toa, who highlighted their 2016 policy statements for business. Michelle Bird with more.
The Back to Business breakfast started off grounded with Business Council President David Toa recapping the downturn in the economy, affirming that it would take honest hard work from both the public and private sector to shape up the economy once again.
It's quite evident that the year ahead will be full of challenges. With various trading commodities dropping at record levels, the economic slowdown in China and the persistent conditions of El Niño, adjustments are becoming an integral feature for governments and businesses this year. Preliminary retail data shows a drop in PNG consumer spending during the festive season, So already the year's off to a challenging start.
On a more positive note, TOA discussed the positive outcome of the Manila APEC summit and announced new features to the organization with 2 new roles of Vice President National and Vice President International. The 2 new roles allow for stronger engagement with government and international partners on high-level policy matters. The Business Council's Economic Policy Working Group, chaired by BSP senior executives, is working with transaction data to narrate economic activity across the country. This helps with investment and policy decision-making. Other working groups in the Council are looking at social service frameworks. The Prime Minister was also in attendance to showcase the government and private sector alliance, stating that neither one could work alone to improve the economy. He then veered off talks of policy as he felt the need to reaffirm that the country's debt level was manageable.
When we are facing hard times, we must also learn to live within our means. But the fundamentals of our economy is very strong. Our debt level is manageable. And in terms of global scale, it is more than reasonable. There are only very few countries in the world whose debt levels are much lower than Papua New Guinea.
The Prime Minister assured the room that government will continue to focus on the existing policies to maintain stability, especially with the fiscal and monetary policies and the taxation regime. Stating that the government has done its part amidst decreasing commodity prices, they have deliberately decided against increasing any business and industry taxes due to the challenges that both sectors are facing, and that the government is not looking to businesses to fund the shortfalls through tax increases, as they believe that businesses need to continue to grow without tax constraints. Michelle Bird, National EMTV News.
And now a look at the finance news. The kina closed unchanged at $0.3315 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3240 $0.4574 Australian dollars, $0.2940 euro, and 38.09 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold, coffee, cocoa, and copra closed the day higher. Palm oil and crude oil closed lower, while copper closed the day higher. And on the stock markets, the Dow Jones closed at 223 points higher, the ASX closed at 39 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed 40 points higher. Eradicating malaria in PNG, and a human rights report describes PNG as most dangerous for women and girls. Those stories next on National EMTV News. Welcome back to National EMTV News. Papua New Guinea, Australia and the People's Republic of China have commenced a trilateral partnership to combat malaria in PNG. The project will focus on working with the National Department of Health, the Central Public Health Laboratory and the Institute of Medical Research to improve malaria diagnosis in PNG.
Papua New Guinea accounts for 89% of all malaria cases in the Pacific region, and malaria is found in all provinces on an average of 1.5 to 1.8 million suspected cases of malaria seen at healthcare facilities across PNG every year.
Malaria is the #1 killer of our citizens, so that is why we have been having the control program in Papua New Guinea for many, many years. And recently we have some good results coming about as a result of influx of resources from Global Fund.
China has made huge progress in malaria prevention and control in the past 6 decades and accumulated much first-hand experience in reducing malaria case numbers. The People's Republic of China Ambassador Li Rio, at the launching of the Trilateral Partnership, said that this would be the first of its kind in the Asia-Pacific. He said China's experience would help eradicate malaria here in PNG. He gave an example of Malaysia and the success of minimizing the number of cases in malaria.
Has been made in this sector. So in particular, with the implementation of the China Action Plan of malaria immunization 2010 to 2020. The number of cases of malaria fell to 56 in 2014 from 30 million cases in 1950s.
Over the next 3 years, the Australian aid program will provide 8 million kina in project funding, and China's National Health and Family Planning Commission will provide technical expertise. Australia High Commissioner Bruce Davis said that the fact that the three countries were coming together to help fight malaria was better than individual countries contributing to the fight alone.
That China has already identified, I think, is particularly important for us to understand better, and that's really going to be one of the critical issues this week in the workshop, to work out how we can best draw on expertise, how we can best ensure that the various contributions can come together in a seamless manner.
Minister for Health and HIV and AIDS, Michael Malabag, thanked the Australian and China government for the contribution to the fight against malaria. Adelaide Sirox Kari, National, EMTV News.
Kerevat Jail in Eastern Britain Province has recorded a steady increase in the number of inmates who are jailed for drug and homebrew offences within the province. At least 30 people are arrested and charged every week and sentenced to up to 2 years in jail. They make up more than 50% of the 522 prisoners at the Kerevat prison.
At the Kerevat Prison Reception Office, Florian Bennett is working on the new admissions of inmates who come here every day. Most of them who come here face up to 2 years in jail for marijuana and homebrew offences. They make up more than half the total number of new admissions every week.
Minimum and by around 6 months. All right, maximum and court can give me going up 2 years. Depend long quantity or amount long drug.
The jail term of up to 24 months may not be appealing to those who produce, traffic and use marijuana and homebrew, as the number of admissions here only shows the wide consumption of these items in the province.
It looks on 20 to 30 and by all drug offences. That's why we are looking at number of drug and we contact.
Meanwhile, the East New Britain police have responded to numerous complaints and have made arrests, but it hasn't even scratched the surface of this growing problem. Numerous drug and homebrew busts by the police in the province have indicated a well-established and dedicated underground market. Many who produce it say it is a thriving business in towns and settlements for those who don't have regular paid jobs. Police for the most part depend on information from the public before they can make any arrests. Many don't get to be reported and those involved in it are not arrested and charged. And like any other areas, handing in one of their own in the community to the police may not be an easy decision for the people to make. Edwin Fidelis, National, EMTV News, Kokopo.
International NGO Human Rights Watch has cited Papua New Guinea as one of the most dangerous places to be a woman or girl. The New York-based NGO's 2016 World Report was released this week, reviewing human rights restraints in over 90 countries.
An estimated 70% of Papua New Guinean women experience rape or assault in their lifetime. Human Rights Watch said although policies criminalizing domestic violence and violence against women are in place, the enforcement of these policies has been poor, with few perpetrators brought to justice. The NGO noted that criminal charges against family violence offenders are usually settled through mediation and compensation, rather than being investigated and pursued legally, and also condemned the ongoing sorcery accusations against women that result in violent murders.
Papua New Guinea is failing to meet its obligations under international law to protect women and girls from discrimination and family violence. The government should immediately begin enforcing the Family Protection Act to ensure appropriate law enforcement responses and should provide comprehensive access to services for victims of family violence.
Police abuse remains rife in the country, with little accountability even concerning deaths and physical abuse, with the NGO noting an incident last year where police opened fire into a crowd, killing 2 market vendors in the nation's capital.
The government needs to address police brutality and bring any officers responsible for crimes to justice. Papua New Guinea should treat asylum seekers in accordance with international standards and implement a refugee resettlement policy.
The report also touches on the 930 male asylum seekers and refugees residing in Australian-run detention centres on Manus Island for indefinite periods of time, causing them mental distress, including depression and anxiety. Over 1 million refugees arrived in Europe last year, settling across the European Union after a distribution quota was reached by its 28 members. German Chancellor Angela Merkel said if well-thought-out policies for integrating refugees are established, countries have a better, more collective chance in managing the global refugee crisis.
Ich bin überzeugt. I'm convinced that if we tackle the formidable task posed by the influx and integration of so many people in the right way today, then this will represent an opportunity for us tomorrow because we have a great civil action and a comprehensive concept of political measures.
Alana Lay, EMTV World News.
You're with National EMTV News. Trukai Sports is up next. We will be back with all the details. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Papua New Guinea's Under-20 women's team to the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup has a hectic year ahead with a 6-month training program at the National Institute of Sports in Goroka and international matches both in country and abroad. The PNG Sports Foundation has pledged to support all training and facility needs for the team. Executive Director Peter Tiamalili Jr. said his technical team will be working alongside the coach, Elisa Cole, over the next few months.
The partnership will further boost the preparations of the young side as they prepare to take on the world's best in November. Head coach Lisa Cole has stated that an early preparation is key for the country, with the process in place to produce a strong performance during the World Cup. She did highlight issues such as a non-available database of players.
We haven't had a lot of games in the last year, and so just getting to problem-solving games will be really important. May will be kind of an individual player development, or May will be a big competition moment for us because we're going to host the PNG tournament here. We've asked the U.S. to come in and some other international groups, so that will be a big competition period of time. And we have a couple international trips planned as well.
Conceding also that PNG's senior women's squad had no lead-up matches prior to their loss to New Zealand and that mistake would not be repeated for the under-20s. The partnership also provides funding for the team that will be used as they prepare to tour Asia and America prior to the tournament in November.
And so we've gone into a partnership where we are going to try our best to ensure that the environment that the girls are going to be living at is conducive to them and ensuring that they have everything that they need leading into the games, both in the infrastructure and also at the technical and also at the sports science level.
Lorraine Genya, National EMTV Sports.
The Hunters program is an avenue for exposing talent throughout the country to higher level rugby league competitions worldwide. Chairman of the PNG Rugby Football League, Sandesh Chaka, said the PNG Hunters is a great platform to elevate rugby league in the country.
As the Hunters prepare for the first trial match of the season against the Penrith Panthers next weekend, PNG RFL chairman praised the Hunters program and deemed it successful over the last 2 years.
Success of the SB Hunters can be measured in many terms. In the 2 years, we've been able to send out 8 boys who have gone beyond the Hunters into England and Australia to progress further. SB Hunters program actually provides the platform, the higher level of rugby league training and performance that is required to bring the game to the next level and actually compete with the top tier nations like Australia and New Zealand. SB Hunters program actually has given us the opportunity to do that, and it bodes well for the 2017 World Cup.
With the number of senior players in the side leaving the team to other rugby league competitions overseas, this year the SP-PNG Hunters will see a number of fresh new talent join the team on field.
With the experience of all the other the remaining boys from last year, I think we aim to go one better, but at home, playing here in Port Moresby, we expect big crowds to come and support the boys, but we going to be tough on us. The other teams know what sort of football we play now, but then we're going to go out there week in, week out and play our best football.
The Hunters will open the National Football Stadium next weekend in a trial match with the Panthers' New South Wales squad, which has the experience of a number of NRL regulars, including Jamie Soward. Hunters coach Michael Morobe has also just returned from Brisbane, where he spent a week working under master coach Wayne Bennett and the Brisbane Broncos.
5 days with Wayne Bennett down there with the Bronco staff and all the players. Yeah, it's really good to go and see what they do at the NRL level.
Coach Morobe has faith in the young talent on board with the Hunters and says he is excited to see how they will perform when the season commences. Dion Kombang, National EMTV Sports.
Don't go away because Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. The future of the SPPNG Hunters was guaranteed today with an additional support of 7.6 million kina for the next 5 years. Minister for Sports and Tourism, Justin Chechenko, said the success of the Hunters over the past 2 years have reflected generously on the growth of the code in the nation, and with the ongoing support from corporate houses and the national government, the Hunters program will continue to do so.
Known today at SP Brewery's Brew Kettle in Port Moresby by CEO Stan Joyce. Joyce said the success of the Hunters program over the past 2 years was enough to guarantee 7.6 million kina for the next 5 years.
It has brought immense success. There were some doubters at the start, not that many I must say, but there was some doubt. But look at what we've achieved by working together. We agreed to pay a 500,000 kina new sign-up fee, which is then a cash payment to the league, and then increase the sponsorship every year by a 10% amount through for 5 years, because we think that reflects, fairness and also the growing value of the sponsorship.
With the increased support of rugby league fans over the last year, Sports Minister Justin Chechenko said the SP Hunters will be used as a marketing tool for tourism in the country.
And as the Minister now for Tourism and Sports, it's a perfect opportunity to bring those two things together, especially with the Intrust Super Cup, because we are promoting not only Papua New Guinea, we're also promoting ourselves in Queensland, Australia, and throughout Australia as well.
With the increase in sponsorship and the idea of using the Hunters as an attraction to the country, some could say there is immense pressure on the shoulders of coach Michael Morobe to again better the performance of his team. But cool, calm and collected as he is, Morobe's confidence in his team goes as far as debuting 7 new blokes from the Intercity Cup for this year's season.
We aim to go one better, but at home, playing here in Port Moresby, we expect big crowds to come and support the boys, but we're going to be tough on us. The other teams know what sort of football we play now, but we're going to go out there week in, week out and play our best football.
The Hunters have another big year ahead, beginning with the trial match against the Penrith Panthers next weekend at the National Football Stadium. Lorraine Genia, National EMTV Sports.
Former Papua New Guinea Prime Minister's 13 representative and Penrith Panthers hooker James Segeyaro was named in the club's 18-man squad for the 2016 Downer NRL Auckland Nines. The 25-year-old was named along with other first graders in New Zealand back rower Elijah Taylor, mobile forward Bryce Cartwright, Regan Campbell-Gillard and wingers Josh Mansour and Dylan Watene Zelazniak. Penrith fans will also get their first look at new signing and former Holden Cup star Te Maire Martin in Panthers colours at the upcoming tournament. Papua New Guinea NRL has grown over the years, expanding their development programs to East New Britain, Eastern Highlands Province and the autonomous region of Bougainville. This year, they plan to move into other provinces in the country and develop the code even more.
PNG NRL's Game Development Conference was held earlier this month. Australian NRL Development Officer Brian Rowe was in the country to strengthen the knowledge of PNG League development officers on games development. There are approximately 13 league development officers in the country, 3 officers in the autonomous region of Bougainville, 3 in East New Britain, 3 in the Eastern Highlands and 4 in the nation's capital.
They have one lead development officer who leads each team. In Eastern Highlands and East New Britain, we have 2 lead development officers who are female, so we're very gender conscious. And basically they come in and we enhance their game development capabilities.
With the support from the Australian government and the Education Department, development officers are able to carry out league development programs in schools. PNG NRL also teaches basic skills to people with special needs.
We visited Cheshire homes on 3 occasions now, and the headmaster actually commented that their catching has improved since we've been back. That's a very big thing for a child with special needs. It's a great achievement for them, and they get a sense of achievement, which is what we want to have them know. We want them to understand that they may have special needs in their life, in their living, but that doesn't stop them from achieving great things as a Papua New Guinean.
With the Rugby League World Cup approaching, PNG NRL might work closely with the World Cup committee.
Other things such as we have a World Cup, the NRL office may have some involvement there. The NRL office will possibly be working with the Rugby League World Cup team. There's obviously the PNG Hunters that are playing in the Queensland Cup.
Elijah Levitt, National EMTV Sports.
And that ends Trukai Sports. The weather details after these short messages.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
And a quick look at the weather for the next 24 hours. In the southern region, some showers expected across all major centres. In the Momasa region, showers and rain for Lae and some showers in Wau, Medang, Wewak and Vanimo. To the New Guinea Islands region, Lorengau, Kavieng, Kokopo, Rabaul and Buka, some showers and rain in Kimbe. And in the Highlands region, all major centres to expect some showers and rain. And before we go, recapping our main stories for tonight. High transport costs hinder delivery of relief supplies. Morobe Governor Kelly Naru joins Christian Democratic Party and PNG's Trilateral partnership to eradicate malaria. And that has been the news, sports and weather for tonight, Thursday, the 28th of January 2016. On behalf of the EMTV News team, I'm Morobe Governor. Pleasant viewing. Good night.